It is now time for our feature presentation. Spoiler warnings. First up, in our tour of Britain, we're going to do the 2020, the most recent of the three British films, a movie called The Host.
Hey!
Hi guys.
Hey guys! Rena!
Caroline!
Hi Teddy!
Let's do a shot after us.
Okay, everyone get in. 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
I've never done this over Zoom. Obviously, we're not physically together, but there's no reason why Spirit can't communicate over the internet.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Visualize us sitting in a circle. Spirit, we invite you to use us to pass on any communication. Is there anyone there? Please come forward.
What was that?
Amy, was that you?
I heard it.
I heard something.
I think there's something here.
Emma, that's funny.
There's something. Yeah, we've connected with something. We gotta keep going. We gotta talk to it.
This is not good. I told you not to disrespect the spirits. It could be something demonic.
Haley, this is all your fault! Not my fault! This is your fault!
Emma, turn the filters off. Come on.
Alright, Dwayne, The Host. What do you think of this film?
Alright, so it says the scariest movie of the last decade. That is a freaking lie. Alright. I started watching it, and about halfway through I turned it off and said, let me start from the beginning again, because I'm not getting it. And I watched it from the beginning again, and it's not a good movie.
There wasn't a whole lot to get. It was a very
No.
simple film.
It's during the pandemic. They're trying to do a seance
Over
Zoom, and it doesn't go right, and it's there's stuff happening in the background in like the videos, of the people, but it's just not good.
Yeah, I'd only watched it the one time because that's all I needed. I was like, Jesus H. Christ. It was so boring. It felt like they were just wasting everybody's time. Nothing new, nothing original. You know, the only cool parts is stuff I've seen in Paranormal Activity. I'm not a big fan of found footage horror films. There's a few exceptions. This is not an exception. I thought this movie was pretty lame and boring, and it's also a very short film. It's only 66 minutes, I think. And then on top of that, the movie ends, and then they have an extra thing at the end where the cast, it's the actual cast, and they're doing a Zoom call, and scary stuff happens. I thought that was just like, I felt like they didn't know how to end it, or their movie was too short for some reason, and they're like, well, let's just extend it this way. It felt like, I hated that even more than I hated the film, was the extra cast Zoom thing at the end. I thought that was dumber than hell. I don't know, it's just a movie that's wasted fucking time for me.
Yeah. Besides Decoder, this is probably the worst movie we've ever reviewed.
Well, the Mayan mummies were pretty bad too.
Okay. Anyway, I thought that the concept maybe was a seance over a Zoom call might be cool, but then it's like you see one of the people in the background, all of a sudden their thing fades a little bit, and it's like their head's getting bashed against the screen. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool, but then it's like nothing for 15 minutes, and then you'll see somebody else in the background like be floating or something, and you're like, well, what happened? And they never explain what anything happened, who's like possessing people or anything. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, there's like 40-50 minutes of nothing, and then like the last 15 was just go, but like I didn't care about anybody. You know, it felt like nothing mattered. It was boring. I don't know why. I just the whole time I was like, I can't wait for this shit to be over. Now I've seen like hundreds and hundreds of scary films. The one thing I hate the most is in a scary film when someone pretends to be hurt or possessed, and this movie does it as well. I don't know why. It's just like, you're just wasting everybody's time. To me, every now and then is, I don't mind it, but this one does it as well. I just didn't care for it. It is one of my biggest pet peeves, especially in found footage horror films. I think they do that because they're limited to how much they can do with the scare stuff. I don't know. I felt like they were bored during COVID. They're like, let's make a horror film during COVID. I wish they would have just stayed at home and locked their doors and didn't do that instead, because that would have been a much better experience for me. Dwayne?
Didn't like it that much. I said the concept's cool, but that was it. I'm only giving it like 2 stars.
Oh, it's 2 stars?
It's better than Decoder, but it's not much better.
Alright. Here are my pros and cons for the host. Pros. Had some spooky parts, like the part where she poured like flour over the ground and you could see the ghost, demon, or whatever it's supposed to be walking in it. I've seen it before though, so that was the one pro I had. The cons: a pointless film, a boring film, no standout characters, dumb extra ending to pad out time, absolutely no replay value. I'm giving the host 3 boring Zoom calls out of 10.